Grigio Pavali. There are 6 bottles in the cellar. Denarius used to have me pour it for his guests. My appearance intimidated them, he said, which he enjoyed.
I can't imagine why they would be put off.
You say what's on your mind, I'll give you that. It's good I can still take pleasure in the small things.
You could have offered me a glass first, you know.
There's more, if you're really interested.
Perish the thought. How else would you redecorate the walls?
I've wanted to leave my past behind me, but it won't stay there. Tell me, have you never wanted to return to Ferelden?
I grew up in Ferelden. It will always be my home.
The Blight is over. You could rebuild what you lost. Do you truly not want to?
My mother came from Kirkwall. Our heritage is here.
Having a place where you can put down roots, I understand. Still, to have the option must be gratifying.
Do you intend to keep living here?
I haven't decided. For now, it's as good as any other place. I would return to Saharan if I could, but there is no life for me there.
Is that where you're from?
So I've been told.
Were you very young when you left then?
Perhaps.
You could track your former master down, I assume.
I imagine he has returned to Minrathous, though I dare not go near the city while he is alive. No, it is better to wait for him to leave his fortress, fight from a fortified position. I do not expect your help when that day comes, but I would not turn it aside.
You've been on the run a long time then.
3 years now. Denarius has a way of finding me. Perhaps it is the markings. Whatever the means, it never takes him long to follow. This is the first time I've given him reason to pause. I suppose there are advantages in numbers.
Haven't you sought help before?
Hirelings, when I could steal the coin. Never anyone of substance. Until you. Denarius will not give up, however. I await his return.
What if he does give up? What then?
Then I go to him. I will not live with a wolf at my back.
Sounds like the right idea to me.
If it comes to that, I doubt it will.
Sounds like a tough situation.
I'm not made of glass. I should thank you again for helping me against the hunters.
Yes, you should.
Had I known Ansel would find me a woman so capable, I might have asked him to look sooner.
You sound like you're about to ask for a loan.
Well, this mansion does require some upkeep. Perhaps I'll practice my flattery for your next visit. With any luck, I'll become better at it.
So the Seneschal's tax collector won't be coming around again like you asked. Funny story.
I'll pass, but thank you for the help.
Spoil sport. Why you want to squat up here in Hightown is beyond me.
I like the view.
So do I.
"3 years. There's still no sign of Denarius. I'm beginning to wonder if he's finally given up.
This is his mansion, isn't it? He must know you're here.
Would you be surprised to learn that it isn't, in fact, his mansion? It belongs to a Tevinter merchant, one who has evidently given up on the place. Perhaps he is dead. Perhaps Denarius killed him. Either way, if Denarius is aware of my presence, he has done nothing.
Don't tell me you're going to miss all the attention.
Tell me, what do you do when you stop running?
you take a breath and look around. And start anew.
I don't know how. My first memory is receiving these markings, the lyrium being branded into my flesh. The agony wiped away everything. Whatever life I had before I became a slave, it's lost. I shouldn't trouble you with this. My problems are not yours.
I might be able to help with your problems. Or give you a few more.
Only a few.
It depends if I really work at it.
Tempting. You're a beautiful woman, Hawk. Is there no one else who has your attention?
Do you see anyone else here?
I'm an escaped slave and an elf living in a borrowed mansion. None of those things bother you?
And I'm a refugee as well as a human. Does that bother you?
You have me there. You raise an interesting point. I'll have to consider it. Last bottle of the Egregio. I've been saving it for a special occasion.
And what's that?
The anniversary of my escape. Astia Vala Femundis. Care to hear the story?
I enjoy listening to you talk.
There are few pleasures greater than speaking with a beautiful woman. Let's see. You've heard of Saharan? The Imperium and the Qunari have fought over the island for centuries now. I was there with Denarius during a Qunari attack. I managed to get him to a ship, but there was no room for a slave. I was left behind. I barely got out of the city alive.
I thought Denarius considered you valuable.
He wasn't given a choice. The look on his face as the ship pulled out was priceless. There are rebels in the Saharan jungles called Fog Warriors. They found me and took me in, nursed me back to health. I stayed with them for a time, until Denarius finally came for me.
He was relieved to see you'd survived, right?
Relieved to see his investment hadn't ended up in Qunari hands, perhaps. I'd grown fond of the rebels. They bowed to no master and fought for their freedom. It was beyond my experience. When Denarius came, they refused to let him take me. He ordered me to kill them. So I did. I killed them all.
Once a slave, always a slave.
It felt inevitable. My master had returned and this fantasy life was over. But once it was done, I looked down at their bodies. I felt I couldn't. I ran and never looked back.
Didn't Denarius stop you?
The rebels had wounded him. The soldiers he brought attempted to capture me, unsuccessfully. It was weeks before Denarius was able to mount the hunt in earnest, but by then, I was already gone.
Couldn't you have found other Fog Warriors? Become a rebel?
Even if I did, I felt unworthy. I had no way of knowing if I could truly escape from Denarius then. I didn't even know what that meant. I simply had to get away. I stowed aboard a ship to the mainland and moved south, chased by my former master every step of the way.
I have to wonder why you stayed with Denarius as long as you did.
You have not been a slave. A slave does not dream of freedom or wonder at possibilities. You think only of your master's desires and what the next hour will bring. It did not occur to me that I could be anything else until I had a taste of it.
But there are stories of slaves rebelling all the time. They did in Kirkwall.
The ritual that gave me my markings also stripped me of my memory. Whatever I was before may as well have never been. Perhaps if I knew, I might have felt differently.
How well did you know these fog warriors?
I knew them only a few months, but in that time, I felt as if I truly lived. They were bold, strong, free with their affections. I was in awe of them and owed them everything. And I turned on them even so.
This can't be easy to talk about.
I've never spoken about what happened to anyone. I've never wanted to. Perhaps this is what it means to have a friend.
It might mean more than that.
I have never allowed anyone too close. When my markings were created, the pain was extraordinary, and the memory lingers. But you were unlike any woman I have ever met. With you, it might be different.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
If there was someone before, I have no memory of it.
There was no one after you escaped, even?
I stayed nowhere for long. Who would I trust? I didn't think I needed anyone, or wanted anyone, until now.
We could find out.
On another evening, perhaps. A last toast, then. To the fallen. I've been thinking about what happened with Hadriana. I took out my anger on you, undeservedly so. I was not myself. I'm sorry.
I had no idea where you went. I was concerned.
I needed to be alone. When I was still a slave, Hadriana was a torment. She would ridicule me, deny my meals, hound my sleep. Because of her status, I was powerless to respond, and she knew it. The thought of her slipping out of my grasp now. I couldn't let her go. I wanted to, but I couldn't.
What do you mean?
This hate. I thought I'd gotten away from it, but it dogs me no matter where I go. To feel it again, to know it was they who planted it inside me. It was too much to bear. But I didn't come here to burden you further.
You don't need to leave, Fenris. Was it that bad?
I'm sorry, it's not... It was fine. No, that is insufficient. It was better than anything I could have dreamed.
Your markings. They hurt, don't they?
It's not that. I began to remember my life before. Just flashes. It's too much. This is too fast. I cannot do this.
Your life before? What do you mean?
I've never remembered anything from before the ritual, but there were faces, words. For just a moment, I could recall all of it, and then it slipped away.
If it brings your memory back, maybe we need to do it more often.
Perhaps you don't realize how upsetting this is. I've never remembered anything, and to have it all come back in a rush, only to lose it. I can't. I can't.
We can work through this.
I'm sorry. I feel like such a fool. All I wanted was to be happy. Just for a little while. Forgive me.
You don't need to stay in this pit anymore, you know. Not that you haven't, fixed it up nicely.
It's falling apart. and my ability to keep the Seneschal from noticing is nearing an end.
I appreciate what you've done, Eveline.
But you're staying. You could go anywhere now.
Perhaps I don't wish to go anywhere.
Freedom must be a terrible burden, I guess.
They don't understand. Yes, I am free. Denarius is dead. Yet, it doesn't feel like it should.
You thought killing him would solve everything, but it doesn't.
I suppose not. I thought if I didn't need to run and fight to stay alive, I would finally be able to live as a free man does. But how is that? Whatever past I had died with my sister. I have nothing now. Not even an enemy.
Maybe that just means there's nothing holding you back.
An interesting thought. It's just difficult to overlook the stain that magic has left on my life. If I seem bitter, it's not without cause. Perhaps it is time to move forward. I just don't know where that leads. Do you?
You're still blaming magic for everything.
Think about it, Hawk. Look at what happened to your mother, your sister, so many others. Is there anyone whose life has been touched by magic that actually benefits?
You make a good point.
There are problems enough in this world without putting such power in the hands of those too weak to resist its allure. Them I fear, as should you, as should anyone. But what's important now is moving forward. I only wish I knew where that led.
Wherever it leads. I hope it means we'll stay together.
That is my hope as well. We have never discussed what happened between us 3 years ago.
You didn't want to talk about it.
I felt like a fool. I thought it better if you hated me. I deserve no less. But it isn't better. That night, I remember your touch as if it were yesterday. I should have asked your forgiveness long ago. I hope you can forgive me now.
I need to understand why you left, Fenris.
I've thought about the answer 1,000 times. The pain, the memories it brought up, it was too much. I was a coward. If I could go back, I would stay. Tell you how I felt.
What would you have said?
Nothing could be worse than the thought of living without you.
I understand. I always understood.
If there is a future to be had, I will walk into it gladly at your side. Wait. I may not get the chance to say this again. Meeting you was the most important thing that ever happened to me, Hawk. Promise me you won't die. I can't bear the thought of living without you.
I don't make that promise unless you do.
Nothing is going to keep me from you.